Right, summer has finally arrived. The conditions have got firmer, the courses are playing quicker. But how do you adapt to these conditions? This is what this video is all about. We're going to run through the changes you need to make to your setup and swing to be able to still get the ball close from these summer conditions. Okay, I'm out here on the Duchess course at Woburn Golf Club where we're going to run through some situations and help you improve your short game. So the first thing I want you to consider is club choice. Now, when the greens are really slow and soft, you need to be using a stronger loft generally to make sure the ball speed increases and it runs out to the hole. Okay, one thing that really frustrates me in winter and soft conditions is when the ball goes in, has too much spin and it comes up short. However, when the greens get quick, like we have here on the first hole of the Duchess, it's downhill this chip. There's quite a bit of green to work with. Your eye might think, well, I'll use something like a 7-iron here because I can land that a quarter of the way and the ball will run out. And that's really good thinking. I do encourage you to do that. However, when the greens get extremely quick and downhill, the danger of using a 7-iron with your chip and run release one style, and you play a nice shot, make a good contact, you can see how that ball can just suddenly race away. So that's an example of my strike being 10 out of 10, but really my IQ, you see that ball just chasing on, my IQ was just a little bit low. I didn't anticipate that how quick that shot would be. So I know some of you will say, well, I like to stick to the same club around the greens. And there's some merit in that, you can kind of get used to it. But when you have quick shots like this, you are making life more difficult for yourself. So rather than using a 7-iron in these firmer, quicker conditions, particularly when it's down a bit of a downslope, just put a little bit more loft in your hand. So I've got a 52 degree here. 50, 52, 54 even would be a good choice here. Don't need to change the shot type. You're still going to do a release one chip and run, but very simply by using a bit more loft, the ball's going to check a little bit more on the first and second bounces and then run out a little bit softer. So this would be the wrong club if we were doing this back in February because it would be too soft. But now we're out here in the summer conditions, we have to think about using a bit more loft. But I changed nothing, absolutely nothing at address. It's the same shot. You can see how that ball checks and it's very, very softly creeping towards the hole. It's not wanting to get away from you. You can see it's soft. It's dead going in. Just missed on the right side. But you can see it's softer. We're not getting that ball racing away and that's the danger. So don't be one of those players that says, I just want to get a contact. The 7-iron is safe here. Without doubt, it's safe. But to get up and down, just put a little bit more loft in your hand. See that bit of spin? And you can see how it very, very softly creeps towards the hole. That's a much better way of approaching these quick, firm downhill shots. So following on from that, the shot choice is really important. So here there's only about 15 feet of green. We know the green's really firm and really fast. Can't really putt it, it's a little bit long to put through. So you could just stick to your release one with something like a 54 upwards, 54, 56, 58. Give it a little bit of check, but even then, it could still run out a little bit too much. You give it a little bit too much, it chases out a bit. So what you can do here, I've got the 56, so I'm going to do a mini version of a release 2. So it's just going to work this way through the ball. So obviously, a lot of you consider a release 2 to be a longer swing and a higher shot, and absolutely, that is a shot. But you can do mini versions of it just there, just to increase the spin and really soften that first bounce. So good to protect yourself on short shots like this in the summer. So little mini release 2 this time. You can see how that softens a lot more and in the hole. Okay, so there's a lot more finesse in there because I'm just releasing it this way. It's a release 2, but it's a mini release 2, good for when you're short-sided from an okay lie. And to finish with, if you make sure you take 1 point from this video, make sure you relax over the ball, make sure your grip pressure's softer. If you grip it tight, the ball wants to jump off the club face. If I was playing up a big 2-tier green and I want to really get that ball up the green, I need lots of speed, I'll grip it tight. So I'm gripping this 10 out of 10, playing the shot, and you can see how that ball has just jumped off the club face. There's no finesse. And grip pressure is something that people generally have very little awareness of. You know, people don't know that they're gripping it tight. So you've got to get awareness of it. Just feel, on reflection, how tight am I actually gripping that? And if you're really tight and you feel you've got your arms dead straight and locked, you're not going to be to get any finesse around the greens. It's very important that you just let your arms hang naturally. If If you let your arms hang naturally by your side, you see they're folded, okay? No one's arms hang dead straight. Let your arms hang softly, and that's how they should sit on the grip. With soft arms and soft grip pressure, particularly your thumbs, you don't want your thumbs squeezing the grip too much. Nice and relaxed with the thumb pressure. And when you get nice and light, suddenly you get finesse in the swing, you start getting control, you start getting some spin, and you can start getting the ball close like that. So really, grip pressure is something that is so important all the time, but particularly in the summer. So I talk often about how the importance of reading the lie in the sand. Is it deep sand? Is it compact sand? Is it sort of a standard depth of sand? The depth is the key thing. Now, you've still got to assess that. Some bunkers will have less sand in. So if there's less sand in there, you do need to make sure you do more of a release one using the front edge. Very important you do that. But generally, in the summer, the sand is softer. Okay, we don't get as much rain, it's softer. So you can see here, obviously you can see how much softer that sand is, okay? That means you want to be using more of the bounce, so more of the back edge of the sole to splash through. Here, I can tell as I'm walking in, I can tell visually there's quite a lot of sand around that ball. If I was to use the winter condition technique, where I'm going to come in more this way, great for when it's more compact. If I do it out of that lie, the ball will barely get out of the bunker, okay, or not at all, because I'm getting too much sand. I'm displacing too much sand by getting too steep. When there's lots of sand in the bunker and it's dry and fluffy, you want to be using more bounce, but you also want to feel like you are skipping it. You need your divot to be level from front to back. You've got to skip it more. So let's play the ball position on the left heel, handle in line with the back of the ball, but really focus now on releasing the club to a 2 or even a 3, right? Somewhere right on the belt buckle or even the trail hip. That's really going to engage the bounce. And keep turning through it as well. When there's a little bit more sand, you need a little bit more pace. So you can see that splash through without any difficulties. Look at how the divot there is the same depth from front to back, which means we can splash through very easily. Let's do that again. And there we go, we're popping them out. Really making sure we're using the bounce, we're not driving the handle. Use the bounce, release the club. And that's how we get the control and the spin. Okay, so that's how you deal with summer lies in the bunker, more release. So when you're playing in summer, you are going to get quicker shots. You might miss the pin on the wrong side, like I have here. It's downhill and there's a lot of right to left break on it. Now, what I see a lot in amateur golfers is they don't really pay that much respect to the break on chip shots. If they were putting from here, they'd probably have a really good look at it and take the time and read it. But with chips, it's more about getting a contact and less about actually reading it. Because I see a lot of players actually hitting nice shots, but because I didn't quite read the break at the end, suddenly it's gone from being stone dead to maybe having to hole a 4-footer simply because they haven't read the break. So in this situation, there's a lot of break. Because it's downhill and because it's quick and the greens are firm, more break is going to play this time of the year than we do this in the winter. So I need to aim out here, I think almost 12 to 15 feet right of the pin. And I'm going to visualize it just dying at the top, and then the slope then takes it down to the hole. So the visualizing and seeing the shot is really important in the summer, where in the winter you can kind of just blast at the pin a little bit more. So think about the first bounce, predict what the first bounce will be like and how firm it will be. Have your practice swing and really focus on the line. Have a little look at the pin, but really your main focus is on your start line for the break. So you can see I've just died that at the top, down it goes, got the break pretty much spot on, and I've hit that to about 3 feet. So I'm quite happy with that one. A lot of golfers you see wouldn't have really seen that break, that have aimed way too straight, played quite a nice shot like I have done there. Now it catches the low side of the slope and that has now gone. You've now got getting on for 15 feet there, okay? So just read the break, let the break take it down to the hole and visualize a better start line, okay? And respect those slopes on those firm summer greens. Right, so we're here, we've got 65 yards to the pin. So we're now into pitching. And in the winter video where I was discussing pitching, I was saying, good idea is to play the ball a little bit further back, a little bit more shaft lean, to sort of trap the ball a bit more to help you get ball first contact off the sodden lies. Now, it's drier now, the grass has grown, the ball's sitting up nicely, it's firmer. We can afford to use more of the bounce and try and get a little bit more spin by using a release 2 action just letting the club slide under the ball a bit more to try and get a little bit more height and spin. So let's try that. But just so we're clear, actually, when the pin is further on, if the pin was never 15 yards on, I would still want to play release 1 to make sure it was running up the green. But because the pin is near the front, it's a good idea here to try and spin the ball, because you don't really want to land the ball short. You don't quite know what you're going to get. So I'm going to be quite aggressive here and throw it most of the way if I can get that nice contact with the release 2. You can see how that's flown in there and stopped really quickly. A little bit of divot there, but still didn't drive too hard at it. Let's try and clip this one a little bit more, carry it a little further. That was clipped a bit more, and let's have more spin this one. There we go. So that's how you play the pitch shot. It's the release 2 a little bit more in winter. Not to say that, you know, this sort of lower back foot drivier one, that is a great shot, but it's more the shot towards the back of the green rather than the front. So a little bit more release on these pitch shots in the summer if you really want to spin it. So one of the lies you will find yourself in the summer are these hard pan baked lies, particularly amongst the trees where the moisture's been sucked up by the pine trees here, and you can see this is absolutely bone hard, dusty lie. Now, you've got 2 options here. One option would be to use your most lofted club, trap it back in the stance and just try and get that leading edge into it and hope the rough takes a little bit of the speed out of it, but that's the danger. You know, that can happen. But hopefully you get down in another 2 from there. The shot I would play is a bit more of an advanced one. So again, see where you are with your game if you want to attempt this. But if you've got a nice modern lob wedge here with the toe relief where it's shaved down, I've got my 7-degree high toe here, so there's lots of relief in the toe. I can put the toe down nice and low. That's going to help me nip under this hard pan lie. I'm going to aim a little bit left here, cut across it, and I'm hoping it'll come out with quite a bit of spin here and give me a chance of landing it on the green and stopping it within 6 feet or so. So toe down, swing across, nip it, and there we go. Hit that to about 3 feet. We see the spin on the ball, and even though it was hard pan, I still nipped under it absolutely fine because I was using the toe of the club. So, you know, this shot isn't to be too scared of. As long as you've got the right equipment, you can just play this shot and just work across it, and you can see the spin and the softness you can get. Just hit the downslope there, but played it beautifully. So that's a serious option, okay, on the hard pan, toe down across, or put it back in your stance there and just trap it. But that first one, you can see it's not easy to judge this one. Trap it. Mind you, I've got that one. Oh, lipped out. So that is another option as well. So look at it. Are you going to go in low, or are you going to play the toe and cut across off these hard pan summer lies? So what you do get in the summer is thicker, lusher grass that is growing a lot. So you are more likely to get lies that are really sat down in the rough. I mean, that is totally buried. And this one here is half buried. So they're the lies you'll tend to get. In the winter, the grass doesn't grow. You don't tend to get this as much. It's more the fact it's damp is the main concern. So it's sort of dry underneath here, but really thick grass. Now, the toe down shot I went through off the bare lies with you is a good option if the lie is, say, half down. You could open the face, you could aim a little left and work across, and it slides through there really nicely, and that works really well through that sort of lie. It's a slight question mark whether it would work as well through here because it is so thick and the toe might struggle to get through it. If it was as thick as this, I'd play it slightly differently. I'd go down the grip and start to really get on my forward side, which gets me in a steeper position. It's going to steepen my attack, allow me to pop into it just behind the ball. The golden rule is don't hit the ball first in these lies. Try and hit just behind it. Got my 60. It is an emergency. Okay, I'm strong in my left hand as well, so I don't want the club to turn. And this ball's going to come out and run quite a bit, so I just want to land this just on the edge of the green. So we're going to go for a little hinge, pop it that way, came out a bit left, and you see it's got a lot of topspin on it. Okay, quite a tough shot that actually. Let's try that again. But I've hit the green. The golden rule, when you're in the rough around the green, is don't chip twice. Let's try that again. I'm going to hold on even tighter here because that really did grab it. That was better. You see how I really held the loft on more and got more control out of that one. So really Just think about these lies. If it's half down, you can definitely have a go with a toe sliding scythe shot. Great shot to have. You can get some amazing control. When it's really buried, get wider, get down the grip, really lean on your left side. Early hinge and pop, hold the loft. Really stay in this left side here, and it can then pop up, okay? But set your expectations. If it's totally buried, just don't chip twice. Just get the thing on the green, avoid the disaster, and move on to the next. So one of the things you will get in the summer are these really tight lies. So the green staff have cut it nice and tight here on the fringe, and the fringe extends around about 7 or 8 yards before another 15 yards to the pin. And if you feel a bit edgy and you don't fancy chipping off these tight lies, there's nothing wrong with using a putter. I'm not going to hold that against you. If you are going to use the putter from off the green, there's nothing wrong with just adding a little bit of wrist into it, which will just help the club have a little bit more speed on these really long putts. If you do just stick to your perfect pendulum stroke, I find it quite difficult to feel it when you have a putt as long as this, hitting through a little bit of fringe as well. So just allow the wrist to settle a little bit more, and it'll help you get the feel for the putt. You can see I've used a bit of wrist there. It's helped me get the ball up there towards the hole and stone dead, right? So who says you can't use the putter off the green? So hopefully that's helped. It's given you a little bit more information about how you need to adapt around the greens from summer conditions. So remember, short game is all about having a good technique, of course, but having good golfing IQ. So get out there, enjoy your golf this summer. If you want a little bit more help, I'm available for online lessons, and also the online 3 releases course is out there where we go into a lot more detail, and that might help some of you as well. But enjoy your golf this summer. Speak to you soon.